Those Were the Days is filmed before a live
Well,
internet
nobody
audience.
can hear that, including me. But why not? Is the question.
We can hear it.
You can hear it?
Yeah.
Oh, good. All right.
You're traveling through another dimension, a dimension not only of sight and sound, but of podcasts. A journey into a wondrous land whose boundaries are only that of old television. That's a signpost up ahead. Your next stop. Those Were the Days. It's the last podcast episode of the year, and the hosts are embarking on a strange trip. A trip into a world where Piglet fires Santa Claus for being a drunk, and one where it's okay to have a child say they want a gun. On this trip tonight is the uptight manager, Steven.
You want to know why I podcast, Mr. Dundee? Or Amy? I do it all so the little children in the world can see that they too can blast their voices out on the internet. They too can talk about their favorite classic TV shows with their friends. They can find that there's joy in old things. That's why I podcast.
The kindly nun, Audie.
Okay, Rod, we got the beginning. Let me hear what you got for the ending. Okay, a word to the wise, all the cheer in 20th century. Yeah, that's good. Whether they're concerned be pediatrics or geriatrics. Why are kids caring about geriatrics, Rod? What is going on? Keep reading. Okay, whether they crawl on hands and knees and wear diapers or walk with a cane and comb their... Okay, so you're talking about everybody. Okay, Wondrous magic to Christmas. There's special power reserved for little people. What is with the little people? Still the children thing. Come on. Okay. In short, there's nothing mightier than the meek. Oh, you mean everybody. Okay, I gotcha. And a Merry Christmas to each and all. Yeah, nobody's going to get mad at that. Go for it.
The curmudgeonly bartender, Travis.
Hello, Jack's Place.
Hey, Santa, you touch that bottle again, I'm breaking your fingers.
How can I help you? What? No. Jack's not in tonight. Yeah, no, he's never here on holidays. I mean, have you seen this place on a holiday? Look, last month, some turkey was here all day on Thanksgiving. Back in July.
Santa, I'm warning you, you got 32 teeth. You touch that bottle again, you'll have 16.
Back in July, Uncle Sam was here lighting off fireworks and singing the Star Spangled Banner all damn day. And don't even get me started on Easter. If I never see another 6-foot rabbit in a pastel vest again, it'll be too soon. I still can't find all the billiard balls. Yeah, I know, he hid them around the joint like eggs.
Damn it, Kringle, that's it. You're out.
Look, let me call you back, okay?
Ready for the evening, though, so buckle up. Wow.
Travis, you got to stop, dude.
Yeah. It's all downhill from here.
Higher and higher. Dear Lord.
That was too much fun not to do.
On that note, here we are with our final Christmas episode. And I've chosen, obviously, the obvious pick of the Twilight Zone. Now, this is not, like, I know that on this show we try to not over-visit shows, right? Like, because I could very easily do the Golden Girls for every single topic that we pull up, easy. But we will come back to the Twilight Zone. Oh, I'm gonna go ahead and say it.
Sure.
Yes.
I love this show. This is one of those shows which, as a kid, I thought was too scary. Because I was a child. But so Steven, you said at the end of the last show, it was maybe in our post show, that you had never seen the Twilight Zone before.
Not a single episode. Nope.
Okay, but you I'm going to go out on a limb and say that you have a passing familiarity with a minimum of one episode.
Yes, because it's hard to miss the there's something on the wing deal. I knew that was from Twilight Zone, and I knew the whole stuff. Like, I mean, that's just, you know that.
Yeah.
I knew it from references from other things I knew.
Yeah.
You know, it's been parodied to the ends of the earth. So I get it from that standpoint, sure.
I think my favorite one is probably Futurama, The Scary Door. Very good.
Yes.
It's a good version. So that particular episode is Nightmare at 20,000 Feet. I think the other episode that most people know is Time Enough at Last, about the guy who just wants to read his books. And then I'm not going to say because we might get to it at some point. So this is an anthology show, I guess I would call it. Rod Serling is a hero of mine as a storyteller. And like me, he's was super into the old timey radio shows, and you can tell that's
Oh yeah.
sort of how this is formatted. It's really smart because you are building these weird worlds in a half-hour show, but because you open with a narrator, you can kind of shortcut a lot of stuff that you need in order to get it into 30 minutes. So I did when I was trying to decide what we were doing for my Christmas episode. I vaguely was like, I wonder if Twilight Zone has a Christmas episode. And then I looked it up and I was like, oh, they do. Huh. And it's streaming. Fantastic. And then I watched it and then I was like, all right, I have to make a decision. Because it's a really good episode. But it's also a lot. It's a lot in this episode. But it wound up being very near and dear to my heart, so I had to go with it. Audie and Travis, were you both previously familiar with Twilight Zone, or how much?
I love the Twilight Zone. I watched a lot of it. Rod Serling, much the same, a hero of mine in terms of storytelling. The idea of taking our world and just tweaking it a little bit, making just small changes and then telling a story there is really great, because that's what every Twilight Zone story is, our world, but then there's something not quite the same. Something's not quite right. And not only that, but Rod Serling as a person was fantastic. He was an amazing person, and you can find interviews with him now on YouTube. And he was so ahead of his time on a lot of topics, and he worked in a lot of really great things into the allegories in his stories. And I loved the Twilight Zone so much.
How about you, Audie?
I am in the exact same boat Steven's rowing.
Oh my!
I have never watched the Twilight Zone before now. I knew the reference, again, knew the Shatner thing, knew, essentially what it was. I just never watched it before for whatever reason. So,
all right. So, Trav, I want to see if you're with me on this. This is both a great and a weird episode to be someone's first.
Yes, I would agree with that, because it's a great episode because it's got a really cool message to it, which Twilight Zone was always great about. And it makes you have an emotional response, but it's a weird one to use because it's not quite as strange. I hadn't watched this one in quite a while.
Yeah.
And so I kept waiting throughout the episode for when's the other shoe going to drop? When's the weird thing going to happen that makes you question everything that's going on?
Yeah.
And this episode doesn't do that. A lot of episodes do, where they're there's a lot of sort of cautionary tales. Be careful what you wish for type things.
There's a lot of monkey's paw, genie's wishes. Oh, you think this is what you want? Well, guess what? You don't. And in this one, he gets exactly what he wants, and it's exactly what he wants, and is pretty great for everyone.
Yeah.
So because this is an anthology show, there is it's not a rotating cast, but there's a varied cast per episode. So this has the incomparable Art Carney playing.
Love that.
I forget his real name. He's the Santa Claus in this one, but his name is Henry Corwin.
Mm-hmm.
It also has
second time I've seen Art Carney as Santa Claus, and I've got thoughts on that.
Yes. And it also has John Fiedler as the manager. And he is known for a lot of things, but Piglet and Friar Tuck, I think, from the best version of the best version of Robin Hood that exists.
Yeah, the true Robin Hood.
Yeah.
We've met our quota now. Amy's referenced animated Robin Hood.
I'm good. Check it off on your bingo cards, everybody.
That's right.
He was the old man in Emperor's New Groove too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I love his voice. Is just my childhood. As soon as I heard him talk, I was like, I know that voice. And then he got animated at one point. He got to fussing. And I was like, holy crap, that's Piglet.
It's just Piglet. It's just Piglet. So we open on a department store. which is very crowded, and there's a lot of people waiting for Santa, and Santa is going to be back at 6 o'clock. And it's very much that like classic sort of old, department store at Christmas thing, right? It's straight out of A Christmas Story or Miracle on 34th Street or literally all of them, right? It's got the big train set in the middle, and it is that thing. And Mr. Dundee is reassuring all of these moms that Santa will be back at 6. Don't even worry about it. And then we wind up at the bar where Santa, who we have learned is real name Henry Corwin, normally out of work, but picks up some hours working as Santa Claus for the holidays. And he's at the bar having a sandwich and a lot of drinks. 6 drinks and a sandwich for $3.
$3.80.
Yeah, 380.
380. And so he's there, and he is clearly inebriated, and he's like, yeah, give me one more, and he settles up. Meanwhile, 2 little kids show up at the window of the bar, and like they're walking by and they see Santa, and they press their little noses up against the glass, and he waves at them, and he's all excited. And he starts to talk to the bartender about like, why do you think there's no Santa Claus? And listen, I've been in my cups a couple times and have just sort of waxed philosophical about why we can't have nice things. I get that. And it's this whole, like this whole thing about, why can't people have things? Because he's out of work most of the time. He is from the tenements, you know what I mean? He just wants people to be happy, like, and have what they need, which I get. And the bartender tells him it's 6:30 because he said to tell him when it was 6:30, which he was supposed to be back at 6, but that's okay. So he stumbles his way back to the store.
I mean, you figure out when you work at a place long enough how late you can be before you're in trouble.
Yeah.
You're like, how far can I push this? It's okay.
And
he just works it.
It is Christmas Eve. And it's on the way back that he runs into the 2 kids, right?
Yeah.
The 2 so the 2 kids that he saw in the window, and they stop and they talk to because he falls over because he is stumbled drunk. And they come running over and they're like, Santa, I want a carriage and a doll, and I want a gun and some army men and a fort and a job for my dad and a turkey for Thanksgiving dinner. And you're just like, oh man. And he just cries. Like he I mean, these are just little kids. And these are not as we'll see, the spoiled little kids that are at the department store. You know what I mean? Like, these are just kids that live in this not great neighborhood that, just want the turkey for Thanksgiving dinner.
He comes out of the gate swinging, being an empathetic and sympathetic person. He's not a mad drunk telling the kids to get away. He's like, come talk to me. Let me hug you and try to comfort you in some way that I can. And at the same time, destroy my own heart because I feel so sad for this whole thing.
Oh yeah. It took me by surprise. I was expecting it to be that story about the drunk and some shenanigans happen or whatever. And then I'm like, this poor dude, like, really is suffering in the same way these kids are suffering and just dealing with it differently because he happens to be over 18 or 21 or whatever the drinking age was at the time.
So he gets back to the store. He is late and drunk. He plays with the train set for a little bit, which this is a very impressive train set.
Yeah.
Yes.
But then one of them does go off the rails, and he turns it off and says to the kid, "You should see me with an erector set." And I would watch drunk Santa try to play with an erector set. That'd be pretty good.
Yeah, kids, erector sets were these toys back in the day.
They were awesome. All right, imagine if Legos were hard.
Basically, yeah.
And he's going back to work. He gets chewed out by Mr. Dundee for being late and drunk, and he's like, you're supposed to be here. He meets with this bratty little kid. He says he wants a new first name. 'Cause
Percival.
Percival. Percy's not
Percival Smithers.
terrible.
He's a snoot.
Yeah,
He's
he
a
is
snoot of a kid. He even upturns his nose.
Hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
He is the exact opposite of the two little kids that we just met out in the snow.
Yeah.
So
Hey, by the way,
winds up
he called it a front name. He didn't call it a first name. He said,
Yeah,
"I need a
he
new
called it a
front
front
name." Weird.
Yeah, that was weird.
I'd never
I
heard that
don't-
before.
No, I don't know. I mean,
I need to call attention to that.
1960, things got wild.
Quick, throw it out there in the Twitter or the email. Have you ever heard anyone refer to their first name as their front name? 'Cause I really need to know.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah,
What part
guess,
of the
like,
country
I
does
guess-
that come from?
yeah. Rod Serling, why did you do this?
Yeah, what if
Why? This is a weird choice.
Yeah. People in Wyoming say that maybe.
Yeah, maybe they do.
Yeah, who knows?
And so he winds up falling over and he's drunk, and Mr. Dundee has had enough, and he's like, guess what? It is 7 o'clock and Christmas Eve, so you're fired. Also, you should probably return that suit before you get real drunk and ruin it. Merry Christmas. Get out. And so our poor Santa wanders out into the snow, and he is not feeling great about life.
Well, even before that, what he says back
Oh,
to
yeah.
Mr. Dundee, like,
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
good.
I'm drunk, but that lady's a bad person.
Yeah.
I know what's wrong with me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
and
was
that-
why?
hard hitting.
Yeah.
So that was a big thing in this episode. And again, I sort of, with my history with the Twilight Zone, I kept waiting for the thing, though careful what you wish for. But here's this Corwin guy who's like, no, look, I know what's wrong with me. I have problems. I'm a drunk. I got all these issues. And Art Carney just like tearing my heart out for that
Mhm.
whole scene. Oh, it was so much.
And I mean, it's the same message it's the same message that we got in Charlie Brown a few weeks ago. You know what I mean? Like, Christmas is not about toys and things you
Mhm.
buy. Like, it's about so much more than that. And he ends it with like, I would have told her that if you'd let me, but you didn't. So
And it's the same message, but it's told in such a different way. Like
Oh, yeah.
in Charlie Brown, it's this uplifting thing of like, no, Christmas is about family. It's not about the commercialism. And here it is, this man who's just at the end of his rope, and he drinks so that he doesn't cry. Is
Yeah.
basically he knows
Yeah.
two emotional states, drunk and weeping.
yeah.
And just the seeing the world around him and what it's like where he lives and how tough it is for some people is so difficult for him. He can't stand it, so he has to drink in order to deal with it at all. And all he wants is to bring joy to other people, to see other people uplifted and given something that they don't have.
Mhm.
And it's such a moving moment, and it's just perfectly delivered by Art Carney.
Yeah, I wrote that
He'd
quote
want-
down because I was so hit by it. the
Yeah,
drink or weep thing.
He wants to be he wants to give the best gifts to everyone.
Hmm.
Which that was kind of the part that sealed it for me when I was like, yeah, all right, we're gonna do this one, because that's my love language, as it were, right? Like, I'm a gift giver, and so I was
Mhm.
like, yeah, I understand this very much. I want to give everyone everything that makes them happy. So, as he's going through the street, presumably back to either the bar or back to whatever it is that he calls home, he hears sleigh bells. Now, I mean, he's been drinking, so who knows? And this cat that was voiced not very well by a Foley artist.
Yeah.
knocks over-
Yeah.
Like, this is
Meow.
not- Like, it's not hard to get a cat to make a noise, you guys. Like, you can just not say meow. Like, it's not
Right.
good.
And like most TV, like most animal noises that you hear, especially in animation, are usually a person doing them.
Yeah.
It's typically Frank Welker or D. Bradley Baker,
Yeah.
but they
This
just
was
didn't have them.
this
They
was
weren't
Paul
they
the
weren't doing
Grip.
stuff yet.
I
Yeah.
don't know what happened.
Who on the crew can make a cat noise? Do it into this mic. Meow.
All right, we're
Good
going
enough.
with it.
Yep.
So he knocks over a trash bag, ostensibly. There's some cans that roll out, and Corwin's just gonna walk by it and whatever. But then he looks back at it, and it's not a bag full of trash. Now it's a bag
No.
full of presents. And this is another spot where it could have kind of taken that turn,
Mhm.
right, into like the you thought this was what you wanted, or you thought you were this person but you're not. Because he could have just taken it and whatever. I mean, we learned that there are magical properties to this bag, but if he was a lesser person, you know what I mean? A lesser person might have been like, great stuff, fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
But he's got gifts for everybody, and so he starts handing them out. We find out because we cut to a meeting at the Savior Souls or something like that, with Sister
It was Sister
Sister
Margaret, maybe?
Florence.
Florence.
Sister Florence doing her very best Christmas Eve. Oh, come all you faithful. Um,
She
with
was
her hat.
trying. She
I
was
love her
Mhm.
hat. It's very good. And so it's a bunch of presumably, if not unhoused, at least down on their luck. We hear from one of them who that he hasn't had a drink in weeks, so probably it's that kind of crew, right? And
I ain't touched a drop since last Thursday.
that's the Bible truth. So Corwin comes in with his bag because these are probably people he knows, right? So
Mhm.
they are on the list of you're getting presents, and he starts asking them like what they want and finding it in the bag. So one of his buddies wants a new pipe and a smoking jacket to go with it, and the guy who's like a sweater. Oh, what size? I don't care what size. I just need a sweater. He's like, here you go. And he's giving out all, it's everything that anyone wants is in this bag. So Sister Florence is skeptical. Um, he has a box for her with a new dress. But she goes out to get the local constabulary because where else would he have gotten this stuff if he hadn't stolen it?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And this is like such a bummer. Like,
Mhm.
just because not only is he being taken in, but they're confiscating all of the presents until their ownership can be determined.
I was kind
But
of
they do.
impressed in this whole scene that everyone called out for socks because,
Yeah.
like, one of the things that wears out the quickest when you're in their
Mhm.
position is your socks.
Your socks.
You're walking a
Mhm.
lot. You got holes in your socks. I was like, you
Yep.
know what? That's an attention to detail that I can
And they get like
appreciate.
in the cold, they get wet.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yep.
mean? You
Yeah.
gotta, you don't want to get trench foot or
Ooh,
whatever. Like,
yeah.
it's
Mhm.
bad.
I
You
learned
need
that from
socks.
Lieutenant Dan. Change your
Yeah.
socks every time we stop.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, so the assumption is that he has stolen everything from the department store, right? And that he must have a warehouse somewhere because he'd been giving out presents for 2.5 hours. And so they take him in, and he's got nothing to be afraid of because he's like, no, like I didn't take anything. Like,
Yeah.
this is a magic bag, and as long as it's putting out, I'm putting in. Like, I will keep giving out these presents until there are no presents to give. And so they bring in Mr. Dundee, right, who is psyched that Henry Corwin has been arrested or at least detained, right? He's like, great. Do
Mhm.
you think he'll get 10 years? Because that'd be great. Vengeful little critter.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. No doubt.
Like, listen. I drank at work on Christmas Eve one time, and it was fine. I mean, my boss did bring it for me, so I guess that was maybe part of it. But, you know, I mean, it's not the end of the world. It's not the worst thing that can happen. But he is a vengeful little man. And he's like, no, he stole thousands of dollars of merchandise from us. You know what I mean? Like that's criminal because it's all about, money and value. So the cop is like, well, see, that's the thing. And they open the bag and it's garbage and the cat comes running out.
That was great.
Cat was great. And he's like, see, I mean, there's nothing we can do. We can't prosecute. He doesn't have any. He has a bag of garbage. Like, I don't know what to tell you. We got nothing on him. It was a different time when if you had nothing on someone, you did just let them go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're gonna hold him till we do find something.
Yeah. And to his credit, Corwin is like, Mr. Dundee, what do you want for Christmas? What do you want? Like, what is it that you want? And he's like, cherry cordial, 1906 or whatever, 3. The best part, this was like one of my favorite parts. I did actually laugh out loud at this part because Corwin stops dead and goes, it's a good year. Like, he's a drunk, but he's a drunk with taste.
Yeah, he
That's
knows.
He
right.
does understand. He may not always be able to have the finer things, but he understands them. So he digs into the bag and he pulls out a bottle and he hands it to Mr. Dundee and he's like, well, bye everybody. See you later. I gotta go give out more of these presents. And there's a tag on the bottle that says to Mr. Dundee from Santa. And it's a 1900 whatever bottle of cherry cordial. And the cop just hands him an empty cup and is like, here you go. You're gonna need this.
Okay, time out real quick. You guys are getting crunchy on me again.
Oh no.
So,
Oh no.
if you don't mind, let me do a restart real quick.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Then, sorry.
Pause.
It's time it's me, Steven.
That's okay. I got this.
Be right back.
I have paused my recording.
There's a mark in here. So, oh, you paused? Oh, I didn't pause.
I didn't pause.
Okay.
Oh,
two
okay.
of us.
Clap
Oh,
again. We'll just clap again. It'll be fine.
We'll just
clap
clap
again
when
when I come
Audie
back.
comes back. Yeah, that's fine. I'm just trying to remember how to mark. I think I can just hit M. Ha! I can just hit M. I'm about
There you go.
30 seconds too late, but
Yeah.
that
but,
gives me
you
the
know.
vicinity.
Yeah.
It's all good.
We gotta get. I'm gonna send Audie a Ethernet cable for Christmas.
Something. I don't understand what it is because we can do Highlander just fine. We never
Really?
have trouble. Yeah. His audio never gets crunchy doing Highlander. I don't know what the difference is.
There's too many of us. All this data.
I don't know. Maybe that's why Scott does Zoom for video and Discord for audio.
Oh,
Right
he
now.
splits it up.
Yeah, he does all the audio for TMS is done over Discord, and then all the video is done through a Zoom meeting.
I feel like wouldn't that get you out of sync live though? Like,
You would think so, but I never see any problems, and I've never had any problems the couple of times that I've been on.
That's crazy. Why not just do the same for both? Like, why not just do audio? I need to understand his reasoning. Like, I don't think it's wrong. I just need to understand how he came to that decision.
Yeah.
I think it was just desperation, just trying to find something that would work.
There's just
Yeah.
no good answer to what we do. Like, there's no one
No.
tool. They're all just getting
No,
by.
because I
By
use
now.
Discord. I mean, I use Discord all the time, and I never have troubles with it at all. And then I'll talk to people like, "Oh, Discord's awful. It
Yeah.
never works right for me." Like, I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. Why it's different for
Discord
me?
works fine for me. I just hate it as a platform.
Sure.
Like as a communication tool, it's fine, but I cannot handle. It's very Discord.
Is it the disparate like servers?
Oh, yeah. That's tough. I
'Cause I
only
just-
spend time on one. And
It's
it's
the
I mean,
same
I
reason
can-
I can't get into Mastodon, right? Is
Mhm.
it's all so subdivided, and when you're me, and your interests
Well,
are
The difference with Mastodon, and actually it's kind of the same on both, really. But with Mastodon, what's nice is because it's federated, you can just look at whatever. It doesn't matter. You can kind of build one feed out of it.
Sure.
Discord, I look at as like it's a conference center with a bunch of
It's-
different rooms.
It's
And-
it's a central hub for everybody's message boards,
Yeah.
which is fine.
It's-
Like it's certainly better than message boards. Like,
Yeah.
It's
Like, it's
it's
a
better
step
than
up from
message
that.
boards. Like I look
But-
at I look at it, and I was talking about this in the Two Dorks Discord earlier today. Like I look at Discord as sort of smaller subsets of my online friend groups,
Yeah.
where you can have like better engagement with people in Discord because it's a smaller group. It's only a dozen people or 24 people or
Oh, literally no server that I'm in is that small.
That's half your problem then, probably. Like like the Two Dork server is literally like common 10 people that chat at
Yeah.
any given time. But I've been in with some that I'm immediately lost. I'm like, I'm a fan of this YouTuber or whatever, and I'll jump in there and I'm like, this is gonna be great, and I'm immediately overwhelmed.
Yeah.
There's no sense in it. It's just a giant Twitter feed that looks like a chat.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I get that for sure. But yeah, the smaller the server, the better off you are, because it's like walking into a small coffee shop versus an arena. And that's the way
Yeah.
we try to make it happen is it's got to be a small coffee shop feel where I can walk in and there's someone to talk to, instead of an
Sure.
arena where we're all facing the one person and then
Yeah.
might strike up a conversation with the person next to us. It's like
Sure.
there's a different vibe.
Yeah, I mean, like for me, the biggest Discord I'm a part of is the Frog Pants one, and even
Mhm.
there, I segment that off,
Yeah.
and I only look at like certain parts of it.
I recognize more names in that one, but I don't have enough rapport with enough people in there that I can just like jump in and have a conversation. That's tough. Audie, can you hear
It
us?
can be, yeah.
I can hear you. and you're not
Okay.
punching.
Okay, good.
All right. When you're ready, we'll do a clap again just to sync everything back up.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay.
All right.
We're going to do a 3, 2, 1 clap. 3, 2, 1.
Okay.
So this is good.
Mm-hmm.
This is A plus podcasting. So we've reached the end of the evening, right? We hear the bells striking midnight, right? I think that's about where we are now.
Yep.
And so he's just sitting
Well, he's got to
on.
give out all the presents to the kids at this point too.
Oh, yeah.
So he's been giving out presents this whole time, and he gives them out to like all of those little kids and all his buddies down at the place, and like everybody. And we hear the clock strike midnight, and the bag is empty. And so one of his buddies comes out of one of the buildings and is like, "Hey, what about you though? Like, what about your present?" And he's like, I think I got it. He's like, I think my Christmas present would be like my ideal present would just be to do this all the time, to just be Santa and give presents to everyone every year. And it got me pretty good
Yeah.
at that part. I
Mhm.
did lose it a little bit there because it was wonderful.
Because we've set it up throughout this whole episode about how much he cares about other people.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Even though
Mhm.
he's a drunk because he cares too much. And
Yep.
at this point, it's like, you didn't get anything for yourself. I got to bring joy to other people. I'm good.
Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted.
Yeah, and again, here I am watching it, waiting for like the Twilight Zone twist of
Mhm.
something to go
yeah.
wrong, and it never does. And then we get that scene, and I'm just like, okay, I'm cutting the onions.
I was
Yeah.
convinced at the moment he found the bag, like it turned from trash to like a bag, that he had died in that alleyway. And I was like, all of
I
this was
mean-
like a,
Mhm.
some
Yeah,
sort of
yeah.
last
Yeah.
gasp of his spirit. But it really, none of it actually happened. I was like, someone's going to find him in the alleyway at the end.
That is sort of the beautiful thing about Twilight Zone, right? Is like the weird stuff that any other show would write off as like it was a dream or they were dead the whole time or
Mhm.
whatever. It's like, no, this is just actually what's happening. It's cool.
That's how it works.
Don't
Yeah.
even worry about it. And so he's headed back down the alley. He drops the empty bag and he's headed back down the alley, presumably headed home again, like wherever he was going when he found the bag. And now there's a sleigh in the alley.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, like, at this point, right? Like when he finds the bag, he's been drinking heavily, right? And like by this point, he's had a few hours. You know what I mean? Like you can't blame this on the fact that he had 6 drinks and a sandwich in the bar. And so he's like touching it like he can't believe that it's real. And then this little elf pops up where on the little sort of shelf thing where the bag had been. And they're like, "We've been waiting for you for so long. Like, we're so glad you're here. Let's go. We're going to go."
We got to get ready for next year.
Yeah. So he gets in the sleigh and they take off. And as they're flying away, Mr. Dundee and the cop come out of the police station. Mr. Dundee is in a state.
He
And
has consumed most of that bottle of cherry
most of
brandy.
that
Yeah.
which that is not it is 1960, and you have asked for a 1903 bottle or '06, whatever. What are you doing? You gotta savor that. That
Yeah.
is for savoring.
He got it for free from Santa. Like, I mean, it probably lost some of its rarity, and like he like grabbed it out of a burlap sack at a police station.
That's
I'm sure he
fair.
has more.
So, they see the sleigh, and Mr. Dundee's like, "What's that?" And the cop's like, "Well, that was Henry Corwin flying away in all of his glory, and that was the whole thing." And so this part got weird, because Mr. Dundee's like, "You should come home with me, and we'll make some coffee, and we'll put some brandy in it." And it got weird there. I was like, "What are you doing, my dude?" But they were basically, they're gonna drink to a Merry Christmas, which I think that they have done quite enough of, but that's okay.
They'll tell you when they've had enough.
Yeah. And then we sort of pan back to Rod Serling, who's back on the street. And it's as Audie alluded to at the beginning. He does this little thing about basically how, it's for Christmas is for everyone, first of all, and that it's, just be good people.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the end of the episode.
That was good.
It was a real good episode. I was pretty psyched about like I really did, right? Because my other option was very much more in line with sort of the rest of them, right? And it's that high nostalgia quotient, very fun
Mm-hmm.
Christmas special. And then I watched this one and I was like, I can't not pick it.
Yeah. It was a
This
good
was
pick.
good.
Well, it's a great pick because the Christmas season means a lot of different things to a lot of different people, and
Sure.
it's not always for everyone a great time of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really isn't.
That's very true.
And for a lot of people, it's a really, really difficult time of the year. And there's a lot of people out there that are like Henry Corwin who really do care a lot, almost too much. And this time of the year can be really tough on them. Or, folks that don't have a family to be with, or there's all sorts of reasons for this to be a rough time of year. And so I think it's a good thing to kind of see the other side of that coin and see something, especially through the lens of Rod Serling and the way that he could take a subject matter like department store Santa Claus on Christmas and really just squeeze all the emotion out of it.
And he manages to not be too preachy about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah,
Like, it's just
for
like,
sure.
here, look, this is how it is. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. And he doesn't, and Corwin doesn't have to have some grand speech in front of tons of people. He has his moment in front of Mr. Dundee.
Yep.
Where he kind of he almost dresses him down right there in the thing. Well, the guy's like, calm down. He doesn't want any of the people to hear this.
Right.
But that's it. Like, that's his big moment is in front of one person, basically, because he doesn't care about anyone else that's in there.
Mm-hmm.
But that happens at the midway point. That's not the culmination of everything that goes on. That's the midway point, and the end of it is him sitting on a stoop with his buddy Bert saying, how do you like your pipe and your smoking jacket? And like, I think I got my gift. I got to make everybody happy.
Yeah.
And
I think that
maybe I'd like
speech-
to do this every year.
Yeah, and that speech in the middle ground, it's not there just to be a preachy speech from a writer. It services the character in the story. Like
Yeah.
it's not thrown in as like, I make some sort of Christmas statement. It's completely in service of making you understand Henry Corwin and where he's coming from. And then that helps you understand the rest of the story. Like it's great. It's excellent storytelling.
As Rod Serling was able to do. Like,
I can't wait till we get to do this show again. Because, now I'm doing the like. I mean, what if I just did like a podcast? Like, what
I know a couple guys
mean,
that do a show
I
like
mean,
that, you know.
it's so.
there are so many great Twilight Zone episodes too.
Yeah.
Like, there's 156 episodes from the original run
Mhm.
over it was five or six seasons, and so many of them are just fantastic little allegories.
Travis, have you watched any of the it's Jordan Peele, right? The
Yeah, I
new
have
ones?
not.
I haven't
I
either.
haven't, and I
Mm.
wanted. I've been meaning to,
Yeah.
but like everything else, it's on my list of stuff to
Yeah,
watch
yeah,
when I
yeah,
have
yeah,
time.
Yeah.
At
We're
some
very
point.
busy.
Mhm.
All right, so Audie, this was your first episode that you've ever watched. What are your thoughts on like the Twilight Zone? Like, how are you feeling about this now?
Well, even though I don't have no history watching it, I definitely have the history of what it's about. So, like Travis, I was waiting for the shoe to drop every
Yeah.
time throughout this thing. But I enjoyed this episode for what it was. I'm really impressed that Rod Serling is the one who just wrote it himself. And I'm like, okay, so the guy who's known for all this weird kind of stuff from the Twilight Zone wrote this kind of stuff. Give me more. I'm ready. And also, like I said, this is the second time I've seen Art Carney as Santa Claus.
Mm-hmm.
First time was a TV movie that we watched every Christmas as kids called The Night They Saved Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to categorize this movie other than it's a TV movie starring Jacqueline Smith.
Yeah.
And
I
Art
think
Carney
that's all
is
you
Santa
really
Claus.
need. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's also got Paul Williams as one of Santa's chief elves, which is just adorable. Little Paul Williams with the little
Yep.
glasses. It's basically about this family who moves to the North Pole, whose dad's job is to drill for oil, and he's getting close to Santa's workshop.
Oh wow.
So if you haven't seen it, go ahead and give it a watch. I'm not going to tell you it's that bad or not, but it's something. I mean, we watched it all the time as kids, so we loved it at the time. But so I feel like this Twilight Zone episode is that Santa's origin story.
Like a prequel,
There you
yeah.
go.
Yeah.
There you go. I like that.
That's a
So-
cool point of view.
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you, The Night They Saved Christmas is higher rated than the amazing Dudley Moore vehicle Santa Claus the movie, and that is surprising to me. Which if you haven't
All
seen
right.
Santa Claus the movie. Steven,
Yeah.
how are you feeling about the Twilight Zone?
I love it. I am a big fan of small stories that are over and done in a short amount of time, but are packed. And if this is an example of what a Twilight Zone show can be, like what an episode can be, I'm all in because I love short story anthologies and I love things you can read in a sitting and get an entire tale out of it. This is right up my alley. I would totally watch more Twilight Zone easy.
I would say vibe wise, this one is maybe a little different.
Sure.
But in terms of like the
Sure.
format and honestly the message, it's pretty on point with most of Twilight.
Oh yeah, the format's what sells me. Just the idea of coming in every week and having a new character to follow over a 30-minute span with a beginning, a
Rod-
middle, and an end. And it's
Yep.
like
Rod's gonna tell you what we're dealing with,
yeah.
and then he's gonna wrap it up at the end, and we're
Yeah.
gonna be good to go.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is the stuff.
there-
Like I have such a short attention span. Like when I'm creating, that like the only thing I've ever been able to write and finish is short stories. The thing I enjoy the most is reading and or watching short stories, just because of the it's all done. You can write that in a sitting. It's done. I wrote it. Let's go. Move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
It's great.
I'm telling you, if you like short stories and you like science fiction,
Yeah.
it's really. I was kind of surprised when you said you hadn't seen any Twilight Zone because it feels tailor made for you.
Sure.
Knowing you like you do, and your love because you've done your anthologies and your shorts. So like it's perfect. This was one of the things when I took my sci-fi writing class. Like we spent I think 2 weeks on the Twilight Zone and like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, there are some just, I mean, some of these episodes, the stories are they've expanded and been made into feature length things. Some of them.
Yeah.
So
Well, it's just this format forces you to make the minutes count.
Yes.
Yeah, there's no like if this was a series of learning about Santa Claus for 2 episodes, it'd just be full of filler. Like just so full of it. And this provides you like you can only put in there what's most important to the story without any like the plot demands it kind of stuff. It's like you just make it as reasonable and quick as you can. It's awesome. Awesome. Love it.
Good. Yay. Travis, I'm assuming you enjoyed it. I'm just gonna
loved it.
big assumption.
Loved every second of it. I'm right now fighting the urge to just dive in full force and just watch nothing but Twilight Zone for a while. Because I'm thinking back wanting to watch things like To Serve Man.
Yes.
Is a great episode.
That's another classic. That should have been on my list at the beginning of classic ones. I forgot that was a Twilight Zone because it's so ingrained in culture.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did forget that was Twilight Zone. You are absolutely correct. So basically all of it is available to watch on Pluto TV. And what I like about Pluto is like the commercial, like it's got commercials, but they're where the commercials go.
Yeah.
So that's fine. Like some services do not do that. They just sort of put them on a timer.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, I watched a movie this weekend that Travis and I will be discussing tomorrow night on Freevee. And good Lord, those commercial interruptions were absolutely terrible. Like even for a movie, it was just like
They just cut you off right in the middle of a sentence.
Yeah. But watching this on Pluto was great.
Yeah.
It's just like where the commercials are. So then you just remember that TV used to have commercials. Ah, yes.
It still does when we go to Grandma's house.
Yeah, same.
My mom's late night TV. That's all just sad animals and sad children. It's very bad. I'm not a fan. Anyway, that wraps up our holiday, our first holiday season together, boys.
Man, that was fun.
That was fun. I'm pretty psyched about it.
It was. I liked the varying Christmas themes. That we had.
Yeah.
The varying Christmas styles. I guess the themes were all very like don't fall for commercialism. A lot of family and stuff like that. But the different ways to get that story across, whether it's this heartfelt, wholesome thing that Charles Schultz wanted with Peanuts, or Balky and Cousin Larry, and now we get tugging at our heartstrings with Twilight Zone. Having Bob Newhart just be a grump because he has to get his tonsils out, like all of that is great. I really enjoyed this.
And that was the Christmas doesn't have to be on any specific day.
Yeah,
it really doesn't.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm just glad we avoided the 50,000 different versions of A Christmas Carol that every show tries to do.
Yes. Yeah. We made it through.
I do kind of need 3 ghosts to show up and tell me what I'm doing because I don't know what's going on.
It would be good.
Be kind of helpful.
You just show me my future, but like not that far to like where I'm
not
dead.
That far, just like a little bit.
Pull it back.
Just like a little bit. Am I doing good? Am I all right? All right, great.
Like Ghosts of Christmas Present plus. Like just
like Ghost of Christmas. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, because I sure as heck don't know that. So
I
I'd
don't
like
know
to
where I'm going.
What I should shoot for.
What is a plan? I'm not familiar with the concept.
Well, we do have a plan for this show.
Oh, gosh, that was pro.
Thank you. So we are going to be off next week for Christmas, but we will be back on January. Is it 2nd? Is that what day it is? Yeah, January 2nd. We'll be back in the new year with a new topic that you all helped us decide.
Yes,
you did.
21 of you voted.
Holy cow.
Yeah, I'm pretty psyched about
That's
that.
a lot of
Them's good-
people.
Them's good numbers.
Uh-huh.
I like that.
That's our best poll yet.
Yeah, we're trending
Yeah.
upwards. So
Woohoo!
Mhm.
There we go.
I'll take.
I'm pretty excited because my contribution to the poll is the winner, and I chose cooking shows.
oh boy.
Since this was the one that I put forth, I will also include like I'll expand it to food, right? Like if you can't find a cooking show that you're really into, like if it's about cooking, like it could be a regular show that's about cooking. Like I'll expand it. I don't want to hem us in too hard. But
That's
first up we got Travis. Yeah.
Yeah,
Travis, first
yeah.
up. Travis, what are
Will
we
be me.
what are we doing?
I don't have a clue.
We're gonna have to fill you in.
Fantastic.
We've got a couple weeks for me to figure that out. I will know probably later this week what cooking show there is. The problem is I have a few classic cooking shows that are rattling around in my head, and I have to figure out which ones are available.
Nah, that's the kicker.
I do
Yeah.
have a front runner right now that I know is available somewhere. And so if you want me to make a decision, I can find out real quick
No,
if that's
all right.
No,
available.
we can-
You
We
don't
got a
need
We
whole
got time,
week.
dude.
We can fill it in on
Yeah.
next week's rerun. We can throw it in there.
Okay.
Yeah. Don't even worry about it.
You
All right,
send me
that'll-
an
that'll
audio
work.
clip and I'll put it in there for you.
Perfect. I will know by then. So you will find out next week during our rerun episode that plays for the holiday.
Yep.
So you got to listen to our rerun episode and find out.
Yeah.
It's worth it. These were good shows. I'll go back into the old archives for a good one.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, I think I speak for everyone when I hope that everybody has very good holidays and a very happy New Year. We look forward. Thanks, boys, for doing this show with me all this year. Like, I'm feeling pretty good about that. We had a good time. I look forward
Absolutely.
to another year.
Oh,
of
yeah.
doing
It's
the
fun.
show with you.
Thank you all for doing the show with me and putting up with my shenanigans and my intros.
I'm
Putting up
We're all
thankful.
gonna have to start
We're like-
stepping it up. Except Travis, you're not allowed to step it up
Yeah,
anymore.
no. Travis needs to dial it back just a little bit.
Just like a little bit. So until the new year, for myself, for Steven, for Audie, and for Travis, thank you for listening.
Bye.
Happy holidays.
I mean it, Santa. Put the bottle down.